The Engineer from Hellraiser Origin Explored. The Hellraiser movie franchise is one of the major horror franchises of all time, but the beginning of this success story is quite interesting. The writer and director of the first Hellraiser movie, Clive Barker, had no plans of donning the director's hat. However, he was annoyed by the adaptations of movies like Rawhead Rex and Underworld, and felt the need to step in himself to show the way. Of course, no one was willing to put in a big funding for a debutant rookie director, but his horror novella, The Hellbound Heart, had all the elements to be made into a low-budget movie. The rest, as they say, is history. Since then, the Hellraiser universe has spawned multiple movies, comic books, and we have been witness to some unforgettable characters. Speaking of the unique characters from the Hellraiser universe, the Cenobites will obviously top the list. From the likes of Pinhead to Angelique, we have seen a bunch of these demented creatures. And the Engineer happens to be an addition to the strange, creepy creatures. This character was Clive Barker's brainchild, and the grotesque inhuman monster was seen in the first Hellraiser movie. It was a pinnacle of monster design, and even with lacking special effects, the Engineer was unforgettable. Unfortunately, the character was never seen again in the later movies. In this video, we go deep fishing for the origin stories behind this creature and explore its powers and story arc. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Who is the Engineer? It is a common misconception that the Engineer is a Cenobite. He is simply one of the many twisted, demented creatures of hell, and he was created thousands of years ago to serve within the labyrinth. He was an inhuman monster and looked like a combination of various creatures. The Hellraiser universe has multiple Engineers, and this horrifying entity just goes to show that there are some things worse than the Cenobites in hell. According to Clive Barker's version of Hellraiser, the Engineer made torture devices for the Cenobites. And this is how he gets the name. He is basically a demon who roams around the corridors of hell, and the Hellbound Heart shows him as the leader of the Cenobites. His appearance is simply hideous, and he seems to be made from a material which is a cross between human skin and scales. He has blazing eyes, and there are several rows of teeth in his mouth. There is a scorpion-like tiny tail, and this twisted form seems to have developed over the years. The Engineer seems to hang upside down using the back feet, and his limbs end in hand-like appendages. It is believed that the Engineer was once a human and was probably the first one to accidentally open the gates of hell. After spending ages in hell under the command of Leviathan, he changed into a hideous monster. He has been described in the Hellbound Heart as the unseen leader of Pinhead's Order of the Gash. The Engineer appears as flashes of blinding light, and can use living and dead people as conduits of his will. In short, this character has way too many twisted features that deserve to be explored further in upcoming Hellraiser projects. The Engineer's role in the film. In the first Hellraiser movie, the Engineer was first seen after Kirsty first opened the Lamech configuration. The door to the labyrinth was opened, and she walked inside after hearing the cries of a baby. She was soon greeted by the menacing Engineer, who then chased her through the labyrinth. He probably wanted to kill her, or maybe would have used her for some ridiculous torture. However, she managed to outrun him, and after she solved the puzzle box again, the labyrinth was closed. Later, she led the Cenobites to Frank, and after they ripped him apart, she solved the puzzle box 4 times to send the 4 Cenobites, including Pinhead, back to hell. The Engineer emerges once again, and this time he fights Kirsty and her boyfriend over possession of the Lamech configuration. But she solved the box once again, and the Engineer was seen forced into hell in a burst of flames. The Engineer also featured in Hellraiser 2, but the final cut deleted the scenes. An evil entity called the Engineer was also seen in Hellraiser Inferno. This Engineer taunts the corrupt detective and kills his friends and loved ones. He left a child's finger at the crime scenes. Later, Pinhead revealed to the detective that he was in hell after solving the Lamech configuration, and the Engineer was nothing but the embodiment of his carnal desires.
What are you doing? Do you know who I am?
Upcoming Hellraiser movie. The new Hellraiser movie, which is all set to release on the Hulu platform, seems to be drastically different from the previous ones. For starters, we will witness a female Pinhead for the first time, as Jamie Clayton is playing the role. Clive Barker is also involved with the project, and this movie, directed by David Bruckner, claims to pay homage to the first Hellraiser film. The creators claim to bring back the R-rated violence that the original novella was all about, but it does not look like the engineer is a part of the narrative. It would be rather unfortunate if such a mystifying manifestation of pure evil is not utilized by the franchise ever again. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.